Hi everyone, I'm Sarah and I'm here today to take you on a special virtual lockdown tour along the riverbank. So some of you may know in Hertfordshire we're really fortunate to have one of the world's most unique and special kinds of environment, and they are chalk rivers. So these are a particular type of river only found in the southeast of England and in certain parts of northern France. There's less than 200 of them in the world, 85% of them in our shores in the UK, with about 20 of these special kinds of rivers found in Hertfordshire and Middlesex. So you might be thinking, well, what is a chalk river and why is it special? And it's all about where the water comes from. So in Hertfordshire, soil and rock under our feet acts as a giant sponge. So when it rains, water percolates down through those layers of chalk and collects in underground storage areas known as aquifers. Now, these aquifers at certain points have springs that feed the rivers on the surface, and when that water comes up, it brings with it all of the mineral properties of the chalk. It's also really, really cool and a stable temperature throughout the year, about 10 to 13 degrees C. Of course, with climate change and the sun heating up the water at the surface, we're now seeing fluctuations in those temperatures, and we're looking at ways that we manage the riverbank to support the wildlife in the face of these changes. Another special feature of the river, along with the mineral-rich water that's gin clear and a stable constant temperature throughout the year, is the structure of the river itself. So chalk rivers have very, very shallowly inclined banks that are well connected to a floodplain, so the water can spill out and fill areas of fen and marshy grassland. They also have particularly gravelly riverbeds, which act as a really important microhabitat for some of the river's most important kinds of invertebrates. So if you dig below the surface of the riverbed, you will find all kinds of critters and creatures living in there. And these really are the building block of the chalk river food web. They provide food for larger fish, such as wild brown trout. They provide food for wading birds, such as little egrets and herons. They're really, really important creatures in their own right as well, and they can tell us a lot about the quality of the water and the health of the river system. And this is because these invertebrates are really sensitive to different kinds of pollution. So as the Wildlife Trust, we coordinate a scheme that encourages volunteers to go out to the river once a month, sample for these invertebrates, count them, and it can tell us whether a pollution incident has happened and about long-term trends that we're seeing in river health. And there are many, many kinds of invertebrates, but one of the most likely ones you are to see at the moment, perhaps when you're out taking your daily exercise on a river near you, is the mayfly. So again, there are a few different kinds of mayfly, but all of them start their life living under the water, in the riverbed, in the gravels, until they're ready to emerge as an adult. And they can live in the river, underwater, in this aquatic form, for anything between a couple of months to a couple of years, depending on the species. When they're ready to emerge as a fly, they'll choose a piece of vegetation at the side of the river, climb up it, station themselves near the top, and break out of their exoskeleton, their skin, spreading their wings and taking off as a fly. One of the great places to go and see them at the moment is actually on the River Mimram. Possibly when lockdown is over and our reserves open, Chewinbury is a fantastic nature reserve to go and see clouds and clouds of mayflies all emerging around this time of year and over into May. And what they're doing is trying to find a mate. So mayfly are up against the clock, really. They have about 24 to 36 hours to live, to find a mate, to breed, to lay their eggs in the water, and then sadly they die. And that's the end of their life cycle. So whilst you're all at home at the moment, maybe you could start thinking about some of the ways that you can help the mayfly and other animals and creatures that live in our chalk rivers. And one of the most important ways you can do this is by saving water that you use around the home. In Hertfordshire and Middlesex, about 60% of the water we drink actually comes directly from the chalk aquifer, which is pumped out of. Largely, the rest of the water we use is actually pumped directly out of the rivers as well, or traded from other areas. So it really does make a difference when you save water at home, because every drop that you save is one more drop in the river. So there are some fantastic, easy solutions to saving water. One thing you might think about doing during this time is installing a water butt. that you can then use to water your garden, vegetables and other pot plants with. Another thing you could think about is maybe taking less baths and more shorter showers, or just simply turning the tap off while you brush your teeth. So whilst it's wet and raining outside, think about all of the things that you can be doing. And don't be too sad about the weather, because as we say at Hearts and Middlesex Wildlife Trust, every rainy day outside is a good day for our chalk rivers. Take care, stay well.